Okay, man. Well, I just first of all, I just want to say thanks for doing this for everybody, just because it takes some guts to come on here and put your brand and like just basically out there for feedback and for everybody to see and learn from. And I think that everybody's just going to learn a ton from everything. I've literally got like pages of notes here that I'm going to go
Nice.
through. I was just looking at your brand. You want to just start out by kind of just like letting everybody know what your brand is, when you started it, who it's for, and sort of just how things are going.
So yeah, my name's Dom Young. I live up in Alaska. I run a brand called AK Rome. Basically, the idea of the brand started out from a YouTube channel back in 2016. The YouTube channel is still active. I don't upload to it as much anymore, but basically, yeah, in 2016 we started up AK Rome as a YouTube channel. Around 2018, a lot of people, friends, family, people from online started saying like, "Hey, like, do you have a merch store? We want to support the channel." And that was something that never crossed my mind. So in 2018, we decided to basically start running some. We had our logo already from the YouTube, and we started throwing it on some hoodies and some shirts. Next thing you know, at that point, it was basically just subscribers, friends, and family just kind of buying from us. At the time, we didn't even have a website. So I think around 2019, I got a Big Cartel website with just a couple items on there. I wasn't really active with it just because I was so busy with making content on YouTube that the idea of the business of starting it as an actual clothing brand really hadn't struck me. So 2021 is when we officially said like, let's make this a thing. So I tried to spruce up Big Cartel, tried to look into Wix and a couple other things. And, I think around last year, almost to the date, January, I found your YouTube. First, I found you on podcasts because I got a new desk job, doing it for the people. And I said, I really want out of here. And we've got a good idea here. The people in Alaska are backing it. Let's really look into it. And I found your podcast. And from there, every day at work, I was just taking notes and really putting what you said into action. So now we're about a year fully in, although we claim that we've been around since 2018, which the brand has. We just really haven't given it the proper work it deserved until January of last year. So we're about a year into it with, really going hard at it. And, kind of like I said, in the last time we talked, as of right now, we're at about 10K in sales for the year for technically, I would say our first year with the YouTube or with Instagram, TikTok, a fresh website.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, like, let's just get started here, and we'll kind of organize this a little bit and work our way through it. But the way that I like to do these brand reviews is I've sort of discovered that there's this foundation to a clothing brand, and there's four main components of it. There's the brand concept, the website quality, product quality, and social media. So the way that I kind of want to work through this is we'll start with the brand concept, and I've got some notes on it, and just basically what your whole brand is all about, who it's going after, and just getting really, really clear on that. Because what I've noticed just by looking through your brand is I feel like there's a couple areas that we could probably get clearer on and work through. So,
Okay.
so the first question that I have, I guess, just while I was working through your brand is, I know that your brand started in Alaska and there's a lot of Alaskan lifestyle stuff. Is your brand for people in Alaska? Like, is your brand for Alaskans, or is it a brand that started up in Alaska and you're trying to make it a broader brand? I guess is like the first question for you.
Sure. So I definitely think it was a brand that started out in Alaska. And since within the name, it has AK in it, a lot more people in Alaska will gravitate towards it just because it says AK. Um, Once we adopted the Ignite the Stoke, that was actually something we changed when we started up our Shopify channel. Our original slogan was AK Rome, your team captain now. So it was just basically kind of like a play on like, we've got the stuff, you take it and you go do what you want to
Yeah.
do, your cap. So we changed it to Ignite the Stoke. And it's really funny because when you ask someone, some people get it, some people don't. But you know, you ask someone, what is stoke? And you know, simply stoke is just something that you get excited for. So a lot of people in the outdoors, you know, when they come back from fishing, they open a beer, man, I'm stoked. You know, somebody
Yeah, it's
just
like
went snowboarding.
getting fired up, like all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that slogan has a lot more power to excel outside of Alaska, because we do get sales, you know, from California, Oregon. We get people in Canada. We just had a sale this week going out to Maryland. So within the last year, watching the sales roll in from out of Alaska, I've just basically been taking data and seeing, well, what are the possibilities of these people just liking the brand, or what's the possibility of them being from Alaska and have moved and
Would
still
you
want to represent.
would you say that most of the people who bought, like the majority, are in Alaska?
Yeah, yeah, definitely the majority of
Okay,
our
so
sales.
this is sort of like the first bit of feedback that I have for you, and you can, this is just a suggestion, you can just take it or leave it type thing, but I feel like the power of your brand is the Alaskan side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like I know that on your website you have ignite the stoke, and I noticed that that was your tagline. I actually felt that ignite the stoke was a little bit confusing, or like there's not enough there to like really understand what your brand's about or who it's for.
Yep.
And so I think that like if you reworked a tagline that was more like for Alaskans, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
going, I was thinking about the East Coast Lifestyle case study. Have you ever heard, you know, East Coast Lifestyle, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was thinking like East Coast Lifestyle is like this massive brand on the East Coast, started up just for the East Coast of Canada, basically, like for Nova Scotians. And I just for fun, I like looked up the population of Nova Scotia, and the population of Nova Scotia is 971,000 people, and the
Mm-hmm.
population of Alaska is 732,000 people. So it's really not that far off. And I was thinking like, if you literally just focused on making a brand that was just for Alaskans, it doesn't mean that people outside of Alaska won't buy it. Number one, like there's probably a lot of other fringe buyers that might still see the value of it and want to think it's really cool to rep a brand from Alaska. Number one. And number two, I think it's going to make your brand a lot more powerful, having that like really specific sort of brand identity and personality. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I read Ignite the Stoke, like Ignite the Stoke, Ignite and Stoke are basically synonyms for one
Mm-hmm.
another. Like to stoke a fire is like to light a fire, ignite a fire. Like they kind of mean the same thing. And when you really dive into the substance of that line, like Ignite the Stoke, I just got a little bit confused by it, and I was thinking like, what? It sounds kind of cool, and I love the word stoked, because I think stoked is like something that a lot of people say, and it's sort of in a vocabulary and stuff. But how do you feel about all that? Like what I just said about sort of making it more like a brand for Alaskans, and really like all of the messaging, everything that you do is like to be the number one brand in Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely piggyback on that, because you know, there's local brands here that, I mean, the power of Alaska, just like Canada, I would say, is just people want to represent and people want to support Alaskan companies, especially Alaskan clothing brands. You know, so the overall basis was to kind of be just for Alaska. Um, and when we changed the slogan, it was really hard because we were trying to think of something that was quick and something that kind of just sounded cool, you know.
Yeah.
So ignite the stoke,
I could tell,
you know.
like I could tell by reading it. That's exactly what I thought, because I've done that for my brand a couple times. Like it definitely, it sounds cool, like it kind of fires you up. But when you really, like, if I just saw Ignite the Stoke, I'd have no idea you're an Alaskan brand. And so
Mm-hmm.
even like a little suggestion would be, what about like instead of Ignite the Stoke or representing the Stoke of Alaska, it was like representing the heart of Alaska, or representing like the Alaskan lifestyle, and like just making it for Alaskans. And I think that you're right that there's something about Alaska itself that has that cool sort of like just feel where it's like almost mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'd just be cool to kind of dominate that first, and then you can always branch that out later. Like you can always change that later. I just think that you're going to get the most amount of like power out of your brand, especially on social media, just being for Alaskans. I was also shocked to see that the population of Alaska is 732,000 people. I didn't realize it was like there was that many people there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it, because only like 22% of Alaska explored, but you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, but yeah, no, I totally understand what you say, because when some people, ask like, what is AK Rome? Since I'm seasoned with it, I don't just say, oh, AK Rome, ignite the stoke, because when you say it that way, it doesn't make any sense,
Yeah,
and that's why we kind of littered in the representing Stoked Alaska in there, but that doesn't really quite tackle it either. But we just kind of wanted that as like a back burner of like, you
yeah,
know, a double slogan, but then that gets too long. AK
yeah.
Rome, Stoked Alaska, ignite the stoke. It also gets redundant.
Yeah. So I think that there is definitely like progress to be made in terms of the messaging and like the taglines that you're using, just to make it like that one line that's really short and concise, that just is super clear and makes sense. Also sounds like as cool as Ignite the Stoke. You could probably figure out some way to do it. And I'm just going to share my screen here to look at your site.
Yeah.
Everybody, can you see that, Dom?
Yep.
Okay, I'm on your site now.
Yep.
Yeah, so like this is where I read it. It was right. Where's Ignite the Stoke? Or representing the Stoke of Alaska. This is what I read. I read, we've got you covered with rad designs that represent the Stoke of Alaska. And even reading that line, I kind of went like, what does that mean? Like representing the Stoke of Alaska exactly? Like when you really think about it, and I know that most people will just kind of gloss over that or whatever, but I think that it's those little details that make the difference between somebody saying, oh, that was kind of a cool brand, and like, oh, this brand is like totally for me. And I actually copied this and put it into Chat GPT here. And you can see, like, I literally wrote on Chat GPT, like, what does this mean? Represent the Stoke of Alaska? and Chat GPT said, it seems like there might be a typo in your question. So like it didn't really understand what it meant either. And I think that, like, I know that you're trying to sort of fire it up here and have some cool sounding stuff, but I think that getting a more precise wording there would be good. And I'm pretty sure I've drilled that in at this point, but yeah. So okay, let's go into your website then next here. Okay, so for your website, first of all, I think that the aesthetic looks super nice. Not just saying that. Like, I think that if you scroll through your website, just so that everybody can see it here, like, this looks really clean. Love the black background. Like, these two look really, really clean. Even like these categories, I know it's super easy to screw those up and not make those look good, but like this site just looks really legit when you come to it. And I checked it out on the phone too, and it looks really good on the phone.
Nice.
The first little bit of feedback for your site here is this square logo at the top. Is that like a style where you use the white edges as the background? Because I feel like this logo would look way better if it was just the circle and everything else in it.
Yeah, it's the funny things that I forget to change. So I've been meaning to change that. So that's our JPEG file which doesn't have the transparent background.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to switch that to the yeah.
So that's what it is. But once we chose the black background, I was wondering if I should switch. Like, we have a white logo too, but it would only work with the black logo with the white background. So I think we just need to switch white logo.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know that the double circle here would work pretty well, because the second circle would show the second, like the outer circle. This is hard to explain, but if you got rid of the white edges and you just had the second circle, then it would keep it nice and captured in there, and you'd still be able to see the circle. But I just think that the circle logo would look best there. Okay, and then scrolling through it, like I said, I really like the black background on a lot of these sections. But one little thing to mention here, this is like a really nuanced thing, and this might just be my taste or something that I've noticed just from looking through other brands, is that it seems like when you show products on a black background that they just don't look as good as on a white background. Have you thought of that? I see you smiling over there.
Yeah, it was,
it doesn't look bad, and you did a really good job with the mock-ups. Like, these mock-ups look really good. I don't see any issues. Like, there's no white on the edges or anything, but there's something about like showing products on a black background that almost makes them look flatter, or like they just
Yeah.
don't pop as much. Yeah, like what I was thinking you could do, just so that you don't change, you don't have to like change your whole website or anything, is like you could do these black sections and then break it up and maybe have like the black section end right here above hoodies and jackets, and then start like a white section where the products are nice and on a white background, so that like everything looks really, really clean. Because I mean, a lot of these like even black products, you can't even really see them
Yeah.
on the black background, and they just don't, I feel like it's just not doing it justice. So that's just like these are just like little design things that you could improve. And like I said, like your mock-ups look really good. Like everything looks high quality, and I'm sure if you put them on a white background, they'd look even better though. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it's, you know, some of these things, it was funny coming into this, and I was like, I wonder if he'll kind of piggyback on some of the things that I was thinking, but we'll wait till he says it. So yeah, that was definitely one of those things where I was back and forth with the black background. Because yeah, I totally agree. It does make the products look really dull. We were just trying to keep the overall aesthetic of the black, but I didn't think about changing that portion to white, which I definitely
and man,
can.
It also like it doesn't look bad. To be fair, like I don't think it looks bad. It's just one of those like little things that I think people are used to shopping on white backgrounds. It's just sort of like the standard. It makes everything look super clean. And there's just something about the black background with products that just makes it like harder to treat as like, it just takes away the credibility for some reason for me.
Yeah, that's crisp.
Okay. So the next part about your site, and this is a little bit of like kind of like a longer thing. This is like really getting into like the nitty-gritty details here. Is I noticed that some of the writing that you have on your site could be a little bit more like concise and just almost like just better written. Like I'm on your secret menu page, and I see like this means, like right here, this means when an item in the secret menu has been released once, creating a super exclusive vibe you won't want to miss out on. I feel like saying things like super exclusive is like to be direct about it. Like I don't know if you want to be direct about products being exclusive. You basically said that by saying that, I can't really see it because I've got the all the screens in the way here. Sorry, just one sec. Sorry, here, I'll read it again. This means when an item of the secret menu is released, it will only be released once. So like right there, that basically is like saying it's exclusive. I don't know if you need to like say it's exclusive, because you say it up here too.
Yeah.
So like literally what I do is I literally copy this paragraph like this, put it into ChatGPT and be like, write this better and take out the word exclusive. And it'll probably like in the same style and keep it like with give it a lot of personality, and it'll probably write like a really sick little thing there. So that's just like a really, really little detail there, but it's those little details that kind of all add up. Oh, sorry, I just gotta see.
Totally. reading that one, I've even gone back and been like, man, I'm really nailing in the exclusive, which the secret menu, people ask about it all the time. That's why we kind of put it on there, because sometimes when you're just testing out it's basically an excuse sometimes for us to test out an item to see how it's going to do, but it still follows the same kind of characteristics like those Kanga pouch jackets. But yeah, we have people all the time, being like, when's the next secret menu item dropping? And we kind of copied it from In-N-Out. Like, it's on the, it's something that we offer.
I love the title of the page. I love that like name of a page. I think it's a great idea. Like I think you should definitely keep that page and everything that you have on it, and the special edition products, limited time offer, all that stuff. I love it. I just think that it's just like the little details in the writing, basically. Yo, what's up? It's Rob here again, just interrupting this brand review that I hope you've really been enjoying to let you know that this video is sponsored and brought to you by my buds over at Design Crowd. If you're one of those clothing brands that struggles with designs, I really recommend that you try them out. You post a project on there, amazing designers from all around the world compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've sold thousands of these designs on my own website, and I got them all made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code apparel when you post a project on Design Crowd. And otherwise, I hope you keep enjoying this brand review here. Let's get back to it.
Yeah.
And so let's just keep going here into some of the other pages. So what else did I have written down here? So the Alaskan gem. So I know that you kind of got this idea from K-Bud, right? Like to put everybody on a page who's worn your brand. These are all people. I'm just going to show everybody. These are all people in Alaska or Alaskans who have worn his clothing brand. And I imagine these people might be some friends or just like influencers or celebrities and things like that.
Yeah, a mix of both.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like these pictures, this page looks like almost better than the page that I have set up on mine.
No.
Just the way they all load here. So I love this page. The only thing that I maybe change about this page is Alaskans who've repped. I don't know why that sounds like it just reads a little bit awkward. Like, I wonder if maybe you change that to like repped by Alaskan icons or like repped by Alaskans or something. Just the wording might just be a little bit more sort of Alaskans who've repped. Just, I feel like you might be able to change that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then what else we got? Okay, let's go to our tale page. So this is your story page, which also looks really cool. Got some products at the bottom. Yeah, just in general here, I'd say that you could probably write some of these things a little bit more grammatically correct. I know that it's good to use a lot of personality, and a lot of this is exactly like what we did with K-Bud. Like, you want to use those words that your audience uses a lot, and you want to use those words that are really connecting with your brand's personality. I love that. But there are some sentences that I think that you could probably maybe just make a little bit more concise. And the specific feedback that I have for you on this page comes in this sentence here. You say, we threw a logo together and slapped them on 25 t-shirts and started tossing them out to our buds. So I wouldn't say we threw a logo together, because it makes it seem almost like he just kind of quickly like just ripped up a logo and like didn't put much time into it. I wrote down wouldn't say we threw a logo together. You could say like we crafted a logo together. That might make it just like, it might just improve the perceived value and quality of your brand there, just in like that simple sentence.
Sure.
We crafted a logo together that represents the heart of Alaska. We crafted a logo together that represents the heart of Alaska. And then instead of slap them on 25 t-shirts, you could say printed them on 25 t-shirts, or like designed them into 25 different t-shirts. I feel like that might I'm just trying to sort of save you from shooting yourself in the foot here and somehow kind of lowering the value or like the sort of perceived value of your brand. And then another little thing that I'd change is you say, to our surprise, they were beyond stoked. I wouldn't say to our surprise, because to our surprise makes it seem like you were kind of surprised that people wanted to support you and buy from you. And instead I'd say something like, they sold out fast and we were beyond stoked. It just keeps your value high, right? Rather than saying like, oh, we were shocked that anybody wanted to buy these. I'd say like we sold out in like a week or however long it was, and we were super stoked or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, we could just say to no surprise. We knew it.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. To no surprise is definitely better to our surprise. Yeah, any of that you have thought about, or any thoughts on any of that I've shared with you?
Yeah, no, totally. So I've always wanted to go back to this page and add a lot more. Like I said, when we switched over websites and just kind of changing around, it never looks the same as the last one. But yeah, this one definitely, I wanted to change up the wording and kind of add a little bit more to it. So it's not just, you know, just our story. You know, it can have pictures of, like you said, like products, shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely the wording too. Yeah, that was just trying to throw it down, you know, just trying to throw it down as best as you can. You come back every once in a while and change it up a little bit. And
I
then,
know.
you know,
There's so many details, and like it's funny when you get to the writing part, you're just like, I just want to get through this, and like I just want to
yeah.
put something out there. But it's like this type of stuff it's all these like little details that add up, and it's like they call it death by 1,000 cuts, which is where like there's those all those little things that add up that hurt the perception of your brand. And if you get like
Mhm.
all these little things and all the different areas working good, then it's like that's where it creates like the perfect storm for everything. So I think that all these like little changes are going to be really, really big for you in terms of the brand's perception.
Yeah.
Um, like what was it? Yeah, kind of. Here's the K-Bud site here. So like if I go to our story, like this is what you were thinking with the pictures and stuff. How we kind
Hmm.
of like all in the background there of like customers and things who have worn it. I think that that's kind of
Yeah.
what.
That's what I'd like to do. Yeah. I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out how you did that. So the best thing I could do is just throw up the individual pics, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, and totally. I think that your story page is a great place to just kind of subtly throw in a lot of social proof and show that a lot of
Hmm.
people have worn your brand and stuff like that. Okay, so the next part of your foundation that would be like, so we've gone brand concept, we've gone website quality. The next part would be your product quality. I honestly don't have much to tell you in terms of your product quality because I honestly think that like your products look great. I love the big send energy and like that's just such a great little line to put on a shirt. I'm sure have you sold a lot of these hoodies?
Yeah. So that was, the cabin in the background is a local cabin in a backcountry area up here that a lot of people go to.
Yeah.
So we threw that in there, and the Big Send Energy. We went to a snow machine event and sold out all 50 of those that we had.
Yeah, I bet. Like it's just a
Hmm.
cool and it even says AK Rome on the top of the cottage there. It's just like a nice little detail.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like man, I
Which
feel like your products are actually like sweet. And if you got these out there on like TikTok and on Instagram, they'd probably sell through pretty quick, especially if you showed the Big Send Energy one. And I think the AK Rome
Mhm.
one's going to be a little bit harder to sell. Similarly with K Bud, like we still sell them a lot, but it's way easier for us to sell like a K Bud Just Giver hoodie because Just Giver's like a popular catchphrase and things like that.
Yep,
And AK Rome, like people would really have to know your brand.
yep,
So yeah, man, I'd
yep.
say your product quality looks great. Like your mock-ups look really, really good. I think that your mock-ups will probably look better, obviously, if there wasn't the black background.
Hmm.
And then the last part would be your social media presentation. So I've got your TikTok here.
Which, by the way, that for anyone else that's listening, that Big Send Energy as well as the Bigfoot was actually from Design Crowd. So I found a really good artist that I like working with from Design Crowd, and I just work with her.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. What you
Yeah.
always go back to her?
Yeah, so I've done two different kind of competitions with 6 artists each, and the first one was okay. The second one, I found her, and then after she did that first design, I was just like, if I know she can produce, you know, I'm just gonna keep that same kind of vibe and aesthetic with her. Um, you know, and I think she's done 3 designs now, so I'll also use Brand Crowd just to make our own. You
Yeah,
know,
that's sweet. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for the for dropping that for sure. Okay. Okay, let's go into your social media here. So this is your TikTok pulled up here. Man, I think that the content that you're posting is right on the money. I think that we have such similar brands in terms of the type of content that you can create. It's like going after a particular community of people. And so I think that like this one here, the one that you pinned, I don't know, this is gonna put I don't know, can you hear that when I play it? The audio?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Because I didn't want it to be super loud, but um the like this type of stuff, like what did this get? 14,000 views or something?
Yeah, that was the first video that did good for us since we deleted half of our content. So the algorithm didn't mess us up totally.
Yeah, like I feel like you could probably pump out like 3 of these a day on
Yep.
TikTok, just like this.
Yep.
And it would probably crush for your brand. I mean, not every single one's going to go viral. Maybe one out of every 6 or one out of every 9 takes off and goes viral, but that's all that it takes for like one out of every 2 or 3 days. You've got a viral post driving traffic to your website, right?
Yep.
Like, I think that people tend to forget that. I'm just going to unshare my screen here for a sec. Like, I think that people tend to forget that the whole point of social media and like posting frequently and posting a lot and like a lot of volume is to drive traffic like to the website, because there's basically no way to get a ton of traffic to your website to make the amount of sales that you want to get to your site unless you're like pumping out that content, or unless you're investing in Facebook ads or TikTok ads, or unless like somehow somebody like tweets out your brand or something like that. But it's like either you invest in ads or you like hammer out content. Those are basically like the 2 main strategies, or you invest in like influencers and paying them. But like, I think your brand would just kill on TikTok and on Instagram, especially like if it becomes really, really about Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that one actually was one of on a day where I posted 3 videos, and that was the 3rd one I posted. So
Yeah.
it kind of did true,
Yeah. And it's TikTok's one of those things where I know a lot of people get worried about posting like 6 or 12 times a day, because they're like, I'm just going to be like pissing off everybody in my feed who follows me. But the algorithm, I feel like I mentioned this before, the algorithm kind of works in a funny way where it'll only show your content to like a really, really small percentage of your followers. And then like the other 90%, it's going to new people. And based on how it does in the first like 200 views, they'll either kill your views, which I'm sure we've all seen, or they'll explode it if it's doing really, really well. So you could post like 6 times in a day, and like 5 of those posts will only get like seen by like 1% of your follower base. And
Mm-hmm.
then the one that goes viral, everybody will see, which is kind of what you want anyways. So I wouldn't worry about like posting too much and kind of like bugging your audience with anything like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, man, we were just talking like before we got onto this Zoom call about your conversion rate.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the sales that you sent me, I thought your conversion rate was like 6 or 7 or like 8%, because you were saying you got like 800 people to your site, and in like the month of, I forget which month it was, and then there was like 44 orders or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my god, it's like a 5.37 conversion rate. But not all of those sales came from your website, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the biggest months have basically, so I think the one you were talking about was November, which total was $2,493. It was
Yeah.
44 orders, 818 online sessions. So yeah, I think so that was, that snow machine event that we did. Because that was
Okay.
last month. So we had an in-person event earlier on in the month, and then of course Black Friday to end off.
Okay, yeah, cuz so your actual conversion rate on your website is more like 1%, right?
It is. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Because originally when I had been doing your review, I thought that you were driving 818 people to your website in November, that you got 44 orders from it, and I crunched the numbers on that. That would be a 5.37 conversion rate. But if a lot of those sales weren't actually from your website and your conversion rate was more like 1%, then there's a little bit more to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that a lot of the changes that we just went over on your site should hopefully improve your conversion rate just from people shopping on your site when you make all those changes and you improve your website a little bit, especially the wording. I feel like if there's one thing to prioritize, it would be like the wording and who your brand's going after. Because this is one of those things that I waited way too long to really like figure out and sort out for my brand, that completely changed everything. Is that I feel like not enough clothing brands really understand how important strategy is, and like fishing in the right pond. if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like going to the right areas. And I feel like with your brand, it may be a little bit broad feeling right now with Ignite the Stoke and all of these things that people can't really like sink their teeth into or sink their hooks into. And then I feel like if you were to really tighten that up and make your taglines a little bit more concise and specifically for Alaska, and all of your content was for Alaska, and it was just like all aligned like that, I think that your conversion rate would probably go up like crazy on your site. But at the end of the day, all this does really boil down to the math. Like if you're driving 1,000 people to your site and you have a 1% conversion rate, it's 10 orders, right? Did I get that right? Yeah. 10 orders through your site a month. And so you need to up your conversion rate to hopefully between 2 and 5%. Although 1's really not that bad. Like it's really not that bad. Like it's ideally it's between 2 to 5%, but 1%'s okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then just trying to increase the traffic through your organic content. And I honestly believe that just by posting like 3 times a day consistently to your Alaskan audience, you'd be shocked after like a month just how much more traffic you're driving, which leads to an increase of sales from maybe, $2,000 in November to the next month being $5,000. And then you go like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, yeah, it literally is. If I get 3,000 people to my site that month instead of 1,000, it's 3 times as many orders.
Yeah.
And you don't need all of them to buy, but it's that conversion rate that really kind of blows up. Like for my clothing brand, I got over, 5,000 people to my site in November, and it's over 10 grand in sales, basically just all through the organic content. Right. Nice. And it's just because the traffic is 5 times greater than the traffic that you're driving. So you really want to think about it in terms of traffic, because there's only so many sales that you can drive to your site with, 20, 40 people a day to your site.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge unlock for a lot of people, I feel, is just recognizing that they just don't have enough traffic and taking that really, really seriously to drive like a whack load of traffic to their site as best as they possibly can. And that's where, taking social media a lot more serious, investing in your organic content, realizing that it's not just about the content, it's also just, you're just trying to drive traffic to your site. And even that top of the funnel, people will be like, oh, who's this 8K Roam brand? This is pretty sick. Like, I like this Alaska stuff. Then they'll go to your profile, they'll click on your link, and you'd be surprised like how many people just kind of like, they just kind of slowly fall in love with your brand and then just want to like buy a couple of your t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I know that's the biggest thing I'm most excited for as the next step. I mean, obviously getting all the tweaks out, but I know we need more traffic. I know that. And, just even from Black Friday, running the sales, that was our first time like running a massive sale, which we utilized, TikTok and Instagram and email marketing. We had never seen that many people to the site before, and that was just because we were leveraging, all those posts. So yeah, I think traffic is a big one for sure.
Yeah. There was no surprise to me that like in the results that you sent to me from your month-to-month breakdown of your sales, there wasn't any surprise that there was an exact correlation between the months where you had the most traffic on your site and the months where you had the most amount of revenue and the most amount of orders. It was like, for the most part, it was like the months where you had 1,000 people, close to 1,000 people to your site, you had the most amount of orders. And then the months where you had less people to your site, you had less orders. So the game with the organic content is really trying to figure out a way to do it without having to, spend so much money on ads. Cause like, that's where it just kind of becomes like this really tricky game to play, is if you're only investing in ads, and the price of ads have gone up like crazy. And that's why I post so much organic content all the time too.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the mind frame of we've got to be at rock bottom before I start spending a lot of money on ads, because I know that there is still a huge potential that I haven't unlocked yet from just purely organic. Not to say I haven't, like I said, we've run 1 or 2 ads on TikTok total. My Instagram and Facebook, I'll figure it out eventually, but since it's not at the top of my priority, it's kind of like, okay. I do see where it benefits a lot, but right now I'm just not, I'm not willing to spend a bunch of money on them, especially when we have seen so much progress from organic growth. It's just the level.
And there's so much more organic to be posted and to be done, right? Like, yeah, if you were posting like 12 times a day on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, we need to do
Nothing.
something more on top of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was looking through your TikTok. Let's hear. I'm just gonna share my screen again. One sec. um, so like, oh, I guess it doesn't show the dates here, but like, it doesn't show the dates on the thing. But anyways, oh, where'd you go? There we are. Basically, I noticed that you were posting pretty well, like almost once a day from November 9th to the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, there wasn't, it was like really big gaps. Like you'd go like a couple weeks and then you'd post once, and then it was like a couple weeks and then you'd post once again. I guess you haven't really seen what can happen yet if you're posting like 3 times a day for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
Have you like, have you
tried? Yeah, no, I definitely have. Like I said, we deleted a bunch of content of just video, like over like 100 something videos that were prior to that, of just posting a bunch, and they'd only get like 500 views, a couple thousand views on a couple of them. But we were kind of, that's when we were leaning towards like when we switched the website and when we switched the catchphrase, when we switched the slogan. So I didn't want kind of any of that old remnants hanging around, even though now when I look back at it, I mean, that's how we built the following. That's how we built, the engagement. So since I deleted all those videos, it's been really rough trying to get traction again on TikTok, because they don't know what, they don't know what happened. But since that last video went viral, that mindset is gone. And it's like, all right, back to it. Because you know how some people say you're shadow banned, stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, it's exactly what you said. You could have 200,000 followers, but they're only going to show your content to maybe 100 of them. And based off of that 100, that's how it's going to do, know?
Absolutely.
So, and it's just kind of hard to keep up. So like, I'm much more consistent with Instagram, and it's a little bit more cleaner. Like we post to Instagram, daily, whether it's a reel or a photo. TikTok was kind of that like, that hidden potential, where if you do make it, you're going to make it big, But just like another quote you said, like you are an exact representation of your brand, so if one week I'm feeling down and I'm not keeping up with my personal, like going to the gym and feeling good at work, if I'm eating bad, I'll come home and I won't want to post,
I know that exact feeling. Oh yeah. Like that's so true. Like the discipline that it takes is a huge component of just being able to keep up with it and do it regularly. And it's like you almost have to treat social media like a sport, like view it like it's like a true like competition. You need to show up every day. It's like hitting the gym almost.
Yeah.
Which I know, I know you'd rather it be more fun than that, but like at the same time, if you only post when you feel like it might be once a week, right? So it's like,
totally. Yeah. So it's just fighting the rhythms of that, and of course with Christmas, everyone's kind of busy. So it's like, oh, maybe I hit Instagram today, but did I hit TikTok? And just keeping yourself accountable, I think, is the biggest thing. I kind of felt a rush after Black Friday, and I was like, all right, that was a lot. Let me chill down. I traveled to Arizona, came back, like, let me hang out for a second. And now it's kind of like, well, man, if I would have just kept up the same momentum through those last couple of weeks and doing what I did then who knows where I could be now. So just learning from it,
I totally agree. What is your, like, here's just kind of like an off the cuff question we can just talk about. Like, do you have kind of like a goal in mind for like where you want your brand to go? Like how big you want it to be, or like, is it like a financial goal with it, like revenue, or like, are you doing it more just to kind of make like supplement your income type thing, or
so there's kind of a remnants of my old mindset hanging around with this new mindset taking over. So like, kind of like what I said is like, it started in 2016, but we didn't start selling in 2018. In 2018, I was just thinking like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Like, let's have fun with it. My mindset's still kind of in that point of where like, I enjoy making the clothes. I enjoy going out and taking the content and like living the lifestyle. So it's just kind of like a plus of seeing people who also support the brand of something that like you made right out of nothing. But then it really gets into the aspect of like, I'm exactly where you were with like, like TCN, right? Wasn't it? where you're
Oh,
working back in your
TSN, yeah, video
yeah,
editor.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your sports editing days. I'm in that same boat. I'm sitting at work every day. I'm thinking about what I can do to, kind of become or on the road to financially free and just kind of working for yourself. It doesn't even have to be financially free.
Yeah.
I'm a I'm a imaginary thinker kind of person. I'm not like my soul isn't meant to be behind the desk.
Yeah.
So once we started getting some traction with this a couple of months ago, it kind of really triggered the mindset of like, if you get all your ducks in a row and you work hard at this, there actually is truly a possibility of getting one step closer to, possibly working for yourself and blowing up. But yeah, I think the new mindset now is definitely if I can treat it, if I can give it more respect and treat it how it should be, then yeah, I would definitely be looking to expand. You know, storefront possibly.
Just a
Don't know.
couple thoughts on on everything you just said. The first thing I promise you I wouldn't just say this. If I felt differently, I'd tell you the truth. I think your concept is really good in the sense that going after like the Alaska and having that nice like defined identity of being for the Alaskan lifestyle. I don't know if there's other brands maybe that are doing that and dominating that already, kind of like how East Coast Lifestyle did on the East Coast. But I think that there really is a potential for you to blow up this brand and make it like the brand for Alaska. I know that like that might sound crazy, but you might as well set your goal that high. Like there's the saying, like you might as well aim for the
Mm-hmm.
moon because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars or whatever. I feel like that's so true, and you should set your aim really high like that. Because I think that you've got this brand. It's super authentic. You're literally from Alaska, living in Alaska, and there's no reason you couldn't repeat the same formula that East Coast Lifestyle did on the East Coast. I think
Mm-hmm.
though that it will take like just to tell you what I think it'll take for you to get there is like it'll take 6 months to a year of consistency on social media and like being that authentic brand on TikTok or on Instagram that really you really need enough content to blow up your social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing that I want to say, it's kind of a compliment here to you, is like you're really good on camera. Like your speaking is you just look really comfortable. You seem very real and like authentic. Do you have you ever like gone on TikTok and just like talked to like the other Alaskans and like just like going on? Because I feel like people would just like you as a founder talking about your brand. I feel like you'd probably crush doing that.
Yeah. So I used to be a teacher. So public speaking and all that stuff is kind of comes more naturally to me. So I've when we so the way we built up the following on that page is I used to go live and tie-dye shirts on TikTok. So I used to go live and tie-dye some shirts and just hang out for a couple hours. And the next thing you know, you have like 300 new followers, stuff like that are just who knows if it's a bunch of kids or not, a bunch of bots, whatever. But yeah, I haven't thought about that.
It just might
I
be an
mean, I
easier way
enjoy.
to if yeah, like if you don't feel like creating content like that, you don't have to, obviously, but I just feel like it might just be easier for you to like just like go outside in
Yeah.
the snow, like go for a walk and shoot like 10 quick clips, just talking to like Alaska and like the weather in Alaska, make a quick joke, like 10-second clips. And it's just like there's
Mm-hmm.
your content for like 3 or 4 days banged out in like a half hour, right? Might be
Yeah.
easier than and people love to
I've
see that
definitely
like authentic side. You're super likable. I think that people would just love it.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. I don't know if you've seen so the last couple of video on my Instagram, there's the giveaways and the skits, like the stories that you save. We started doing skits where I basically take on this character and he's either the boss or a coworker of AK Rome, but he's always talking on the phone. And those videos of me just like, straight up, stand up, just off the top have done by far the best out of anything.
Yeah. How many of those have
So
you posted?
so we're only on 3. We've only done
Yeah,
3 so
like
far.
yeah. They
Yeah.
take a lot of time to do though.
It's kind of like I've got high hopes for it, so I'm letting it build slowly, because it's
Yeah.
like the character's back for AK Rome, whatever. Like there's a whole storyline to it, you know. Like
Yeah.
with each video we reveal something new, but yeah, I'm excited about that, and taking more like that too. I mean, like since you said that, I could literally go walk around right now outside in the snow, and like you said, just kind of make some more comedy about the brand. Obviously, always wearing our gear. So
Yeah, totally, man. I think that would kill. I mean, like this is one of those things where it's like you don't like you want to find that balance between things that like you need to do for the brand, but that you also kind of like to do. Like I'm just putting this out there as suggestions. Like obviously if you don't feel like doing that, it's not you. You want to find the things that like you kind of have some fun with and you like enjoy doing at at the same time. Like
totally,
this,
totally.
yeah. But you definitely I think that finding that way to be consistent is going to be like a huge step forward for you.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel about like just like those, just before I let you go here, I'm gonna bring on some other people, but like
Yeah.
those the feedback that I gave you on your site and all that stuff, is a lot of that's like you think things you've thought of before and you're gonna try and adjust, or
Yeah, totally. And like I said, it's so much more mind easing when you. I'm a big believer in mentors, and you don't recreate the wheel. You basically just put your own spin on it. So like hearing some of that stuff from you, and basically just doubling down on some of the ideas that I've thought about is definitely reassuring, and kind of gives me more action to move forward. To actually move on it. So I'm excited about a lot of that stuff because yeah, a lot of the things you said were things that I've kind of thought about or have been like, man, we'll see how it goes. And just having you say that stuff and kind of give more direction and where to head definitely does leave me feeling more confident. And as always, it's always a great time talking with you. And
yeah. What's been
listened.
your what's been your like biggest month for your brand so far in terms of sales?
Yeah, so it looks like it was November last
Like
month, mixed with one in-person sale and then Black Friday sales, which we were running 30% off. So we were kind of getting smashed on what we could have made, but it's great to get that out there. I
I
can
know
tell
that this
you
oh sorry I cut you off, go ahead, I thought you
yeah, no
were
worries. The highest day that we made, I can tell you, it was an in-person event, but the highest day we had on record was in September, and it was $1,994 just in one day. So that was kind of a milestone. And then, like I said, November took close to 2.5K was Black Friday and in person. So the goal is to hit a 5K month is the next
Man,
goal.
I was just about to say, like, I know that your goal is to hit a 5K month. I think that your brand could easily become 20, 40K a month if you were just really rocking the whole Alaska thing and basically doing similar to what East Coast Lifestyle does. Like you think about how much East Coast Lifestyle sold just in Nova Scotia. It's like
Yeah.
basically everybody in Nova Scotia was wearing one of those East Coast Lifestyle shirts. And his case study is like so similar to yours, and it was just a guy from Nova Scotia who was so authentic, like just himself in his like where he's from, and that's you in Alaska. So I feel like there's a part of that kind of really resonates with your brand, and I have no doubt that you'll be able to get up to like 10K, 20K, 30K months really soon.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. It definitely lights fire under the stove, and being out in front of everyone else who's in the community, I making new connections and kind of just hanging out and congratulating people on their milestones. So I'm waiting for the day.
Yeah, man. I
Waiting
hope
for the
that
day.
I hope that ignites the stoke for you, man.
Oh yeah,
And
just a little bit.
not I just want to say like thanks again, man, for coming on here and just sort of putting your neck out there and letting everybody else learn. I'm sure everybody else got a lot out of that.
Oh,
And
of
yeah,
course.
well,
Yeah.
let me know how all those changes go, and post in the group and let us know if you do end up making a lot of those changes, or if you do end up firing up your social media pretty hard, like how much it changes things, or if it doesn't. I just
Yeah.
kind of like love to hear about it.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you again, Rob. Really
Cool, man.
appreciate it. You're awesome.